What's up guys, and it's the moment I've been waiting for so long. First of all, this is Full Throttle and my name is Charlie. Today I'm going to be putting the BC Coils on my car. This is a moment I've been waiting for such a long time. Now, I've had these coilovers for right around, I want to say 2.5 months, and I had to order one of them from BC because it had a bent lower mount, and then the top of the actual gas tube, the strut part, was actually bent as well. So I ordered a new actual strut, and then I ordered a new lower mount, and today I'm going to clean them up, put them together, and then I'm going to put them on my car. So this is what I was talking about the bent lower mount. You can see right here that this is bent, and then this is an actual replacement part right here, so that's going to go on there. So I'm going to have to take this entire one apart because I also have a new actual strut right here. And the top on this one, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's a little bit bent on the top, so I didn't want to take any chances. I just wanted to order a new one. And yeah, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take all these coilovers and I'm going to take the front and rears and the springs, and I'm going to clean them up a little bit, and then I'll be right back. So one thing I wanted to point out with these coilovers real quick is the fact that you have to cut a hole in your rear trim for this to fit through, and this uses a small, I think it's an Allen wrench on the other side here, yeah, right there. So you can actually take this off and then show you guys the car. So I believe I'm gonna have to drill a hole in both sides on these trim pieces here, so that way I can fit those, wires through, so I can control whatever dampening or the adjustability of them there. Now what I'm going to do, since this one is nice and cleaned up, what I'm going to do is finish cleaning the rest of these up, and I don't think I need to record that because it's just going to be cleaning. Alright, this is the finished product. They look pretty nice. Cleaned up pretty good. So this is the new strut here, and then these are the older ones. And even the older ones on the bottom here, if you take off the lower mount underneath on the bottom of the strut, you can see the year and the month that they were made. And even on the older ones, they were made in 2015, and the one that I just ordered a couple months ago was the one made in 2016. So I'm guessing that these were probably bought in 2016, but the gas tubes were manufactured in 2015. I could be wrong, but hopefully that is the case. And here's the rear springs, and I'm going to start taking everything apart. One thing I wanted to mention while I was doing this is the fact that I've never done this before. I've never put on coilovers on a car. I don't know how to adjust any of the settings or anything. I've watched a couple of videos, did a little bit of research, but other than that, I just took them off the car, and that's the only thing I've ever done. So basically, I'm not a certified mechanic, I'm not ASE certified, and yeah, read the description. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the hood. Now I'm going to use a number 14, and I'm going to remove the strut bar. If you have a factory strut bar, then you have two clips right here, and you have one clip over here and another clip right here for your wire harnesses. And you can just, pop those clips off, and then you're ready to start taking the strut bar off. And the clips that I'm talking about are these clips here, here, and here. These two. So after you take out all the bullets, it slides right out. Now you have access to your 312 millimeters on each side. So you've got 3 here and 3 here. So now I'm going to start on the front, and I'm going to start taking this wheel off. all I gotta do is disconnect the ABS lines up here, the brake line, taking off the ABS line from the front strut. It just slides right out. Is I've got one, looks like 17 down here, one bolt that has 17 on both sides, and then I've got 3 12s on the top. So this should be fairly simple. Hopefully I don't have to drop the lower control arm, because that's going to make my alignment really bad. I still want to be able to at least drive to the alignment shop. So you've got that 17, it looks like right there. I'm going to double check the size. And then you've got the 3 at the top, and you've got a brake line right here that you need to take off, and that's 12. Alright, so now I've got a 12. I'm going to start working with the 12 first, and I'm going to take this off that way, that because if I take off the 17 on the bottom down here, then when I pull to break this 12mm loose, it's going to be just pulling on the strut. So I'm just going to take the 12 off first. Okay, now I'm going to break the bottom loose with the 17. So I've got a 17mm regular wrench and a breaker bar. Alright, so now that 17 is out on the bottom, I'm going to move to the top. Alright, so once again, this is a 12mm, and I've got a deep socket and an extension to help me get down here. Alright, so now I'm going to try to pull this down and see if I can get any leverage to get this out. And right now it looks like I am going to have to drop my lower control arm. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to use this Allen wrench and a 17mm and break the end link loose. So right here on the lower control arm, I'm going to break that end link loose, try to get more leverage to slip this strut off. Alright, so now I'm going to work on dropping the lower control arm, because I am going to actually have to do that. And so the bolts on the lower control arm are a 19 on each side. The lower control arm is out now, and I should be able to get the strut out. And out it goes. So here's the new one, and it goes up just like this. So I need this brake line to be facing the rear of the car, and then if you can see this here, it's a little bit bent. So I'm going to unbend this real quick, and then I'm going to throw it up. I just want to remind you guys that this is all loose still, because I don't know exactly where I'm going to have my car sitting. So I want to keep everything loose until I figure out. I'm going to tighten these up right here, of course, not too tight. I don't want to put any pressure, like I don't want to put a lot of pressure on the spring. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave these bottoms loose, and then I'll tighten this down when I get to lowering the car, and that way I can figure out my height and adjust it accordingly. Alright, so I just hand tightened 2 of the nuts on the top. This one seems like the threads are a little bit messed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go try to find another one of these. I'm just hand tightening those for now, then I'm going to throw my lower control arm up. So I replaced the nut on the top. All 3 of the nuts on the top are hand tight, and I'm just going to start putting the ABS line and stuff in place and figuring out where all this stuff needs to be. Just going to rise it up a little bit, that's all I'm going to do. Because the person before me had it lowered about, it looks like about 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to unscrew the bottom mount a little bit, this mount here, and try to lower it down a little bit. I kind of want to lower the car to see how this wheel sits, if I need to adjust it anymore, to show you guys how I'm doing it. And just like I said earlier in the video, I don't know how to do this. I've never done it before. So Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna throw this wheel up and see how low it is. Oh yeah, it's hella low. What the hell? It looks dope, but that's way too low for me anyways. Absolutely no tire gap here. And it looks sick, but I can't have my car that low. So I'm gonna lift it back up and do some adjustments and lift it up a little bit at least. I forgot that I can just loosen the back here, and then I'll spin the coil over, and that way I don't have to remove all the brake lines and everything like that. So what I'm doing is spinning this entire assembly. I'm not loosening these ones on the spring itself. All I did was loosen the one down by the lower mount. And what I'm doing is I'm just like moving the entire strut coil over itself. And that way it raises the car a little bit. Damn, it's still super low. Well, it's not as low as it was before. That might be good. You think that's cool? That looks nice too.
That's good.
So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna measure this one. So from lock ring to lock ring, I was at 5 3/8, which is not too much different. So this one is sitting right about 5 1/8. So I'm gonna adjust this one down because I kind of like where the other one's sitting right now. So I'm gonna adjust it down to 5 3/8 because this one up here, it looks pretty nice. All right, so this is compared to stock. So now you can see how much more tire gap I have. Time for the rear. What we've got to do is there's two 12 millimeters up here. There's a 17 here. There's a 17 here. And I believe there's either a 19 or a 17 back here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to, it shouldn't be too difficult. And after I get this rear shock absorber off, then I should be able to see where I need to drill my hole so I can put the dampening knob through. Now, there isn't actually a lot of load on this spring right now because the car is lifted up off the ground, and if I take the shock absorber off, which I'm actually going to do that first, so if I take the shock absorber off, alright, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking the 17 millimeter out of the shock absorber. There's no nut on the reverse side. It's like self-tapped, like they have it tapped on one side, so you don't have to worry about a nut being on one side. It's just a 17 on this side. There's even less stress on this spring now, and now when I take this off, it's not even going to, I'll show you guys right now. And I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about real quick. So, you've got the spring bucket here. I'm taking out this bolt. This spring shouldn't have too much pressure on it, so when I take this out, it's not going to flip down and the spring's not going to fly out and smack me. It's actually going to be kind of hard to push this down because I'm not going to loosen the bolts back here. Then you've got a 17 right here that goes through the shock absorber. What I was talking about is this is a self-tapped nut on the other side that's like welded to the actual shock absorber itself, so you don't have to worry about holding a nut back here while trying to unscrew this. Then at the very top up here, you've got two 12 millimeters that hold on the the rear strut, shock absorber to the top up here of the strut tower. Now that I've showed you everything, I'm gonna finish taking out this 17 down here. I'm gonna drop these two 12s, and basically this side is already off. So let's see. That's what I mean. The spring in the bucket, there's tension over there, and since a lot of the pressure is relieved from up here, then all you have to do is push this down and out it comes. Since I raised the fronts about 2/8, I'm going to lower this about 2/8 of an inch as well. So I'm gonna rise this up. So I'm gonna rise this up about 2/8 of an inch, and then I'm gonna rise up the other shocks right here about 2/8 of an inch as well. These ones. So since my other camera decided to run out of memory, I'm gonna use this for a second. So far I've tightened this back up. This spring is kind of loose in here. I'm gonna wait until after I lower the car back down to see how that's affected. But I did, I did not adjust this yet. So I'm gonna have to use the spanner wrench. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to pop this trim panel off. So let's see real quick. Thought I could slip this out here. There we go. Okay, so I think there is this hole here. I'm gonna get under here and see if I can see any light. I can. So let's see if that will fit through there. So it won't. It's a little too small, but that should fit right up through there. I might be able to just take this whole thing off. Oh wow, would you look at that? That's all this is. Well, that isn't gonna work though. Now that I figured out that I can put it straight through this hole here, actually that hole might work better. Let's see. Yep. Alright, so that smaller hole right here will work just fine. So that's about an inch, maybe about an inch and a half away from this here. So if this is the line here, and oh shit, that's right where that clip goes. Whatever, should be fine. Just gonna pop the clip out. And I'm gonna drill the rest of the way through. Then I'm going to tighten it down. Like that. And then I'm just gonna take the top off. And instead, I'm going to try to stick this up through, right here, up through that hole, instead of trying to tighten this down right here, while trying to put this down through it, hold up the strut at the same time, and then tighten this Allen key. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick it up through instead. Now that I got the top figured out, I had to take it apart a couple of times. Basically, this is the way I have it set up. I kind of wanted it flush, but if I ever have to take this apart in the future, it's going to make it a lot harder if I take that off and then try to put it back on. This little cable is going to be too short for me to try to get to to get the Allen wrench in anywhere to get everything put back together. So now all I have to do is basically get this put in here, and that's pretty much it. So I've got that there, and that's how it all goes together. So I've got one nut on up here, and then I'm gonna put the other one on right now, and then I've got the bolt to put through right there, and then I'll lower the car and see how it looks. All right, it's put together. Now all I'm gonna do is put the rim back on. I'm gonna lower the car down just like I did on the front and see where it sits. If it sits good, then I'm gonna be happy. If I have to raise it back up and then take the wheel back off and adjust it, which it should be pretty easy to adjust. It's just like the front, but instead you adjust this upwards here, and you basically loosen the lock rings here, spin this up, the top hat of the spring, the adjustment part of the spring, and then you basically spin this one here. You loosen up this locking ring here, and then you can spin this one up as well. Just try to keep track of how much you raise each one, because you don't want to offset these. I don't think anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a try right now and see how it comes out. Alright, that's all the way down. That's about the same as the front. That's pretty dope. So alright guys, that's pretty much how you, I'll show you guys all the tools I use too, but so basically to adjust the rears, you don't have to take it back off and then twist this. All you have to do is twist this part, and you loosen up this locking ring here, and you just spin this part, so that way you don't have to worry about taking it all back apart. Same goes for the front. With the front, all you do is, well, all I did was I loosened up the bottom locking ring here and then just spun it, so that way I didn't have to take everything back apart. And with these ones, it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got this, you spin it just like with the other portion over there. Alright, I'm going to show you guys this side of my car compared to the other side, so you can see how much wheel gap I closed up, and with the front as well, and then with this side you can see how much lower that is. Alright guys, so this is every tool I used today. A hammer, a couple of flathead screwdrivers, a 12mm an extension and a socket wrench, a breaker bar with a 19mm and a 17mm socket, a 14mm and an extension as well, two 17mm, two 19mm, a 5mm Allen wrench, a 2mm Allen wrench, 21mm, and the impact gun that was for taking the tires off. I used a pry bar to get some of the bolts out. The spanner wrenches are self-explanatory. A flashlight and a drill with I think it's a 5/16 to drill the hole here, and this is how this turned out. I don't really like how long it is, but it's gonna have to do. So, yep. Alright guys, this pretty much ends this video. I didn't even finish these today. I'm probably gonna end up driving that little Civic home, because I had to sell some parts today and I was up and down and trying to get everything done in the morning, ship items out and stuff like that, so I didn't even get the car done. And so I'm probably going to finish the other side tomorrow, but I did finish the side today for you guys, and I'm going to be hopefully editing this video tomorrow. I've got a bunch of video to go through, so if you like this video, if it helped you out at all, hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing. I'm going to have a lot more stuff to come, and I'll see you guys in the next video.